Have you ever walked into a room full of your own family and felt like no one noticed you were even there? Like you could disappear and they'd just keep laughing, eating, going on like nothing happened? I'm Ethan Miles, and if you're into revenge stories where the forgotten kid finally gets the last word, then buckle up. Growing up in the Miles family was like watching a movie where everyone else had lines and close-ups, and I was just background blur. I wasn't abused, I wasn't mistreated in any obvious way, I was just invisible. My little sister Camila, 2 years younger than me, was the star. Golden child, straight out of a parenting magazine. She got ballet lessons, violin, professional photos every birthday. Me? I got socks and keep it down when I laughed too loud. When I was 10, I won first place at a statewide coding competition. It was huge, hundreds of kids, multiple rounds. I came home clutching that shiny gold medal, heart pounding with pride. My mum was in the kitchen, ironing Camilla's tutu for some dance thing. My dad was watching a recording of her recital on the TV. I stood in the doorway for a full minute before anyone even turned around. When I finally held up the medal and said, "I won," my dad glanced at it, gave me a quick nod and said, "That's nice, buddy," then turned right back to the screen. That night I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the medal in my hands, like maybe it meant less if no one else cared. It wasn't the first time I felt that way, and it wouldn't be the last. At 14, I had a big presentation at school. I didn't even tell them. I just wanted to see if they'd notice. They didn't. Meanwhile, that same week, Camilla had some dumb history poster due, and Mum stayed up past midnight printing pictures and helping her glue little cutouts to a trifold board. I wasn't jealous. At least I told myself I wasn't. I just wanted someone to notice, to care. Even a "how'd it go today" would have been something. By 16, my dad had promised to teach me how to drive. He said it would be our father-son thing. He even circled a date on the calendar. That weekend came and went. Camilla had a science fair and suddenly Dad was booked. My Uncle Dean ended up teaching me instead. My dad didn't even ask how it went. It's weird, right? How the pain doesn't always come in one big moment. Sometimes it drips in slowly, year after year, moment after moment, until you realize you've been standing in a house full of people who never really saw you. Looking back, I think that was the beginning of the end. I stopped asking, I stopped hoping, and eventually I stopped being their son. College was hard, not the classes. I could handle the workload, the projects, the pressure. That wasn't what drained me. What wore me down was waking up every day and knowing that no one was cheering for me, no texts from home, no "we're proud of you" calls, just silence. Still, I held on to one thing: graduation. I don't know why I built it up in my head. Maybe because it felt like the last checkpoint, the one moment where your parents show up, smile too big and say, "We always believed in you." So 2 weeks before the ceremony, I sent a message in our family group chat. Graduation is June 17th, 10:00 a.m. Would love for you all to be there. Parking gets crazy, so maybe arrive early. No reply. I told myself they were busy, that they'd text later. They didn't. The morning of graduation, I woke up at 6:45 a.m. I ironed my gown twice. I checked my phone a dozen times. Lauren, my girlfriend, was supposed to meet me at my apartment at 8:30. By 9 o'clock, she still wasn't there. I called. She picked up and I heard laughter and voices in the background. "Hey," I said, already uneasy. "Where are you?" She hesitated. "I'm at your sister's new place. Your mum asked me to help her move this morning. I thought, you knew?" My hands went cold. "You're helping Camilla move. Today. Right now?" "Yeah. I mean, she really needed help. And your mom, she just said..." I hung up. No yelling, no crying. I just sat down on the edge of my bed, full cap and gown, staring at the floor like maybe it would offer answers. My parents had chosen Camila, again. And this time so did the girl who said she loved me. I wasn't even worth showing up for, not even on the one day that was supposed to be about me. Ever felt that? Like people don't even have to hate you to leave you behind, they just have to love someone else more. If you've ever been that person sitting alone on a day you were supposed to feel proud, I see you, and I'm sorry. I don't remember how long I sat there, still in my gown, still waiting for something to shift, some text, some knock on the door. Anything. What I got was a phone call. "Hey kid, I'm outside. Don't tell me you're still in your pajamas," said Uncle Dean, voice warm and steady like always. I blinked. "Wait, you came?" "Of course I came," he said, like it was obvious. "It's your graduation." I nearly dropped the phone. 10 minutes later, I was in his car, still stunned, still processing what just happened. Or didn't happen. Dean glanced over at me at a red light. Let me guess. They didn't show. I didn't answer, but I didn't have to. He shook his head. "Those two. I don't know how you turned out the way you did." We didn't talk much on the way, but something about the silence with him felt different, not empty, just understood. He pulled into the parking garage of a 5-star steakhouse downtown. I looked at him, confused. "This isn't campus," he grinned. "You've already graduated. I figured we'd skip the crowded bleachers and do something that actually feels like a celebration." We walked in, me still in cap and gown, and the hostess lit up. "Congratulations, graduate," she said, clapping. I nearly cried. Dean had reserved a private table by the window, cloth napkins, glass water bottles, no prices on the menu. "I wanted to do this right," he said, lifting his glass. "You earned this." I couldn't even speak. No one had ever done something like this for me. Not without strings, not without guilt, just because they wanted to. Halfway through the meal, he pulled out an envelope and slid it across the table. "What's this?" I asked. "A graduation gift," he said. "Inside is a $50,000 check and a business card." I opened it. The card had a name, Mark Chen, VP at a major tech company in Seattle. "I made some calls," Dean continued. "Mark's looking for fresh talent. I showed him your GitHub and resume. He's interested." I stared at him. "Uncle Dean, I can't take this. It's too much." "You can and you will," he said. "Look, I never had kids. You're the closest thing, and I've seen how they've treated you. Let me help you do what they never did. Believe in yourself." I wanted to cry. Instead, I nodded, blinking hard, and whispered, "Thank you." That night, as we drove back, I posted a photo of me and Uncle Dean at the restaurant. Just a simple caption, "Huge thanks to the only person who showed up for my graduation. At least now I know who actually cares." Then I turned off my phone. For the first time in a long time, it felt like something inside me was starting to shift. Not all at once, but enough to breathe a little easier. Enough to start imagining a life beyond being someone's afterthought. I left without saying goodbye. No dramatic note, no last words. Just a quiet decision and a one-way ticket to Seattle, paid for by the only man who ever showed up for me. Uncle Dean helped me break my lease, pack up my stuff, and load everything into a shipping container. I donated most of it. I didn't want to carry my old life with me. Seattle felt different the moment I landed. Colder, yeah, but clean, open. Like no one here knew who I was, and that was exactly what I needed. Mark, the guy from Dean's Tech Connection, met me at a downtown cafe the next morning. He didn't care about where I came from, who my parents were, or what awards I never got credit for. He cared about what I could build. 2 weeks later, I started work as a junior developer. It was surreal. The company paid for my temporary housing. A nice little loft, walking distance from the office. I got a welcome bag with a water bottle, hoodie, even a snack drawer at my desk. I wasn't used to anyone setting things aside just for me. The first few months were a blur. I worked long hours, not because I had to, but because I wanted to prove to myself that I belonged. I got promoted within 6 months. Then again at the end of the year, I made friends, not fast, but the kind that stuck. People who invited me to hiking trips, weekend barbecues, trivia nights. No one knew about my past, about Camilla, about my graduation. And for once, I didn't feel like I owed anyone an explanation. I changed my number, deleted old social accounts, made new ones under a slightly different name. My parents didn't even have a way to contact me anymore. Not that they tried, at least not for a while. Lauren sent a few emails at first. She even messaged one of my old college friends asking where I was. But I didn't answer. I'd already spent enough years waiting for people who never showed up. One night, I stood by the window of my new apartment, top-floor glass wall looking out over the city. The lights stretched out like stars. I watched the skyline and realized I didn't miss them, not even a little. For the first time, I wasn't the boy begging for a seat at the table. I was the man building my own. And that silence, the one that used to crush me, now it finally felt like peace. 6 months turned into a year, then 2. By then, I'd gone from junior dev to team lead. I was making 6 figures, speaking at tech conferences, mentoring new hires. My LinkedIn inbox was full of recruiters. I even bought a condo overlooking the water, floor-to-ceiling windows, built-in espresso machine, the works. Life was good and quiet. Then came the first email. It was from my mum. The subject line just said, "We miss you." I stared at it for a minute, heart steady. Not angry, not even curious, just detached. Inside, she talked about how proud they were, how they'd seen my name on an article about up-and-coming engineers. She said Camilla had moved back home to save money, that Dad's firm was struggling, and that things haven't been easy lately. No apology, no mention of graduation, just a soft nudge cloaked in nostalgia and guilt. I didn't reply. A week later, my dad messaged me on LinkedIn. "Ryan, I've been following your career with great interest, very impressive. I'd love to connect about a potential collaboration, something that could benefit us both." Collaboration, that word made me laugh out loud. This man had watched me disappear from his life without a single call, and now he wanted to collaborate because he'd seen me giving a TED-style talk on software ethics. I closed the message and went back to my code. But they didn't stop. More emails, more "we're worried" voicemails. Camilla even DM'd me on Instagram for the first time in years. "Hey, stranger. Look, I know things got weird, but Mum and Dad are really struggling. They might lose the house. They won't say it, but they need help, and I know you can help." It was wild. For over 2 decades, I was the shadow they never looked at. Now, I was the lifeline they couldn't stop reaching for. Part of me wanted to respond. Not out of pity, but power. To let them know I saw it all. The desperation, the manipulation, the way they sugar-coated the past like I hadn't lived through it. But I stayed silent. Then, one Saturday morning, my doorman called. "Mr. Miles, there's a couple here to see you. They say they're your parents. They're insisting." I froze. My heart didn't race. I didn't panic. I just stood there, holding the phone to my ear like it weighed 50 pounds. I thought about telling security to send them away, but instead I said, "Let them up." Tempo. Tioncoid. Because if they wanted to look me in the eye after all these years, if they really believed I'd forgotten what it felt like to sit alone in a cap and gown while they helped Camilla unpack a bookshelf, then fine, let them come, let them see who I've become. The knock on my condo door was soft, almost hesitant. I opened it slowly. They stood there like strangers, thinner, greyer, older than I remembered. My dad looked like life had deflated him. My mom's eyes were red-rimmed, mascara already smudged. "Ethan," she whispered, reaching out like I was 10 years old again. I didn't move. I kept one hand on the door, like it might slam shut on its own if I blinked. "How did you find me?" I asked flatly. My dad cleared his throat. "Dean told us, said it was time we talked." I made a mental note to call Uncle Dean later. That stung. Still, I stepped aside. They walked in slowly, their eyes scanning every detail of my apartment. The view, the furniture, the success they never expected from the son they never chose. "You've done well," Dad said, voice tight. It wasn't quite pride, it sounded more like confusion. I didn't respond. "We miss you," Mum said, voice trembling. "We've had a lot of time to think." "Have you?" I asked, arms crossed. "Or did the money run out and suddenly I mattered?" "That's not fair," my dad snapped. "What's fair," I said quietly, "is this. You had 20 years to show up. You missed every birthday, every award, every conversation that mattered. You missed my graduation." Mum's face crumpled. "We were helping Camilla." "I know," I cut in. That was always the excuse, wasn't it? Camilla needed something. Camilla had a project. Camilla was more important. My dad stepped forward. "We didn't come to fight. We came to ask for help." Of course. There it was. "We're losing the house. My business is gone. Your mum's car got repossessed, and Camilla had to drop out of grad school. You think I care?" I said, voice low but steady. "You think any of that erases how you made me feel like a ghost in my own family?" "We were wrong," Mum said, tears falling freely now. "We know that." I stared at them. For a second, just a second, I felt that old ache tugging at me. That part of me that still wanted to be enough, to be chosen. But it passed. "No," I said. "You don't get to cry now. You don't get to ask me for anything." Dad's expression hardened. "After everything we did for you, name one thing," I said. "One time you picked me over her." He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. "Exactly." I walked to the door and held it open. "Goodbye." They stood there, stunned. And then they left. No hugs, no final words. Just two people finally realizing they'd bet on the wrong child. That night I sat on my balcony watching the city lights flicker like stars. Then I opened my laptop and wrote one final email. "I'm not giving you money, not because I can't, but because it won't fix what you broke. I've spent the last 2 years building a life without you, and I'm doing just fine. I don't hate you. I just don't need you. Please don't contact me again." I hit send, and for the first time I felt completely free. To anyone still listening, have you ever fought your way out of being someone's second choice only to realise you never should have been on their list in the first place? If that's you, drop a "still standing" in the comments, or tell me your story. You never know who might need to read it, and if this hits somewhere deep, I hope you know you're not alone. You're not forgotten. You're not broken. You're just not done yet.